Alright guys, back with I guess part 2 of the CD collection. Starting off, we've got, this is definitely the most unmetal band that you guys have seen so far. This is Air Supply, or Lost in Love, excuse me. It says their famous song, All Out of Love on it. Call me a wuss, whatever if you want. I like Air Supply. I'm a big fan of 80s. Most of my stuff, like, I've got a lot of metal, but I've got a lot of stuff that's not metal. Some of it might surprise you guys if you know me personally and you just assume that I just like all metal. I like a lot of it, but I like some stuff that's not metal because I gotta have stuff to chill out to, wind down to. Some of it I can do that with some metal, but not all of it. Anyway, Air Supply, Lost in Love. If you like cheesy 80s, and I just love it. Check this band out. All Out of Love, of course, was like probably one of the better songs on here. But Every Woman in the World is a good one, and I really enjoyed My Best Friend on this one. Lost in Love was a good one. It's just a good album, a good sign of the time to the 80s, very cheesy. So next we have Airborne. They're like an AC/DC ripoff band, really. Not entirely. This is their album Running Wild. It's got the band running, I guess, in a castle. I really enjoyed Girls in Black and Running Wild. Those were really, really cool songs on here. It's a really good album to drive to if you're into that kind of driving music. Most classic rock typically is, but like I said, very reminiscent to AC/DC. I'd check them out if you guys are into that stuff. Next one we've got Alda Nova. You guys are probably like, who the fuck are them? Well, a majority of you guys, if you're around my age, which is 21, you guys have probably heard the song Fantasy, and you probably don't realize it. But if you watched Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory on MTV, and I feel like most people did who were around my age, they watched MTV at some point, whether it was Robin Big or Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory. You heard the song Fantasy, and the theme was done by this band originally. The version you heard was by a band named Steel Panther. We'll get into that. But Fantasy is on here. I honestly haven't listened to a ton of it, but it's just a reminder that I really need to check this band out, or check these. Really, it's not. I don't know if it's a person or because it's just one person on it, but I really need to listen to this again because it's been a while, if at all, really. But yeah, Alda Nova with their self-titled. Next, we have a very fun metal band that I like. This is Alestorm. This is what is jokingly called as pirate metal. The memorable tracks on here are Captain Morgan's Revenge, Nancy the Tavern Wench. Where's Wenches and Meat is a good one too. I just really like Alestorm. I believe they're from Scotland somewhere. They're on Napalm Records, if I remember correctly. Yeah, put out by Napalm Records, and they just do pirate metal really, really well. Next album is also by Alestorm, called Black Sails at Midnight. Does this have... Keelhauled. Keelhauled is on this one. A really, really fun song. It's really catchy too. One of the most catchy songs I think they have. It's pirate metal. They don't disappoint typically. I don't have their latest. The latest has a song on it called Fucked with an Anchor, which, okay, I just haven't listened to it really, but Alestorm, Sunset on the Golden Age. You can see it better. It's like a ship on like the ocean. What really got me in the Alestorm was track 2 on this album. Track 2 is titled Drink, and it is the most fun party drinking song ever. I'm not a huge drinker, but it is definitely a damn good song. Like, I heard this and I'm like, you know what? I'm not a drinker, but if I did drink and party, I'd listen to this. Another really catchy song. Alestorm is a great band. They're a fun party band to listen to. Next, we've got Alice Cooper, a classic, love it to death. Kind of boring album cover. Tidbit about this though is they had to airbrush some guy's thumb out because it looked like a dick in the original artwork. But interesting fact there. But as far as standout tracks, I really got to go with I'm 18, Isn't My Body, Hallowed Be My Name, Ballad of Dwight Fry. Those are all really good songs on this. I mean, this is just classic. You can't really go wrong with Alice Cooper. We got quite a few of them, so hang tight, guys. Then we have Alice Cooper Killer. It's got a snake on it. This is early Alice Cooper. Under My Wheels, Be My Lover, Desperado. Yeah, all really great songs. Again, this album, 71, so early 70s. Moving on to what you guys probably know by Alice Cooper, being School's Out. Really cool. It's a desk with like drawings on it, and it says School's Out right there. I'm sure some of you guys, I actually did that one day, the last day of school, my sophomore year in my study hall class. I wrote the lyrics to Bloodbath's Eaten on the desk just to do it because it was fun. But School's Out. Honestly, aside from School's Out, I don't know a whole lot on this album. I've listened to it, but I get in a habit where I'll buy things and then I don't necessarily pay attention when I'm listening, so I don't know. I need to re-listen to it though, because Alice Cooper is great, but he doesn't really play a whole lot from that album aside from School's Out. Next one is $1 Billion Babies by Alice Cooper. Elected is a great one on here. $1 Billion Babies, No More Mr. Nice Guy, and Generation Landslide, and I Love the Dead. I Love the Dead is a really cool song. He typically plays that live when either when he's done his illusions. I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to save the surprise for people who haven't seen it. When he does his illusions, he'll usually come out and sing I Love the Dead, which is a very short song, but it's definitely a really cool song nonetheless. Here we're getting into a really, really cool album by Alice Cooper. This is Welcome to My Nightmare. This kind of set a standard for him. And I mean, this is, I would say, a lot of his favorite. Is it mine? It's tough. I like a lot of Alice Cooper. But Welcome to My Nightmare, Welcome to My Nightmare. Of course, the title track's great. Black Widow, Only Women Bleed, Department of Youth, Cold Ethel. That happens to be, I believe, my dad's favorite song. And it's a really cool song. I like the way it's done. It's presented very different, especially for the meaning of it. It's one of those like kind of lighthearted songs that you wouldn't expect to have a really dark undertone meaning, but definitely a really cool song. My favorite song off this though is Steven. Steven is a great song off of this. All in all, another solid album by Alice Cooper. Next, we've got, what am I pointing to today? Alice Cooper Goes to Hell. Now, this one, I haven't really listened to it. Like I said, I bought it because it was Alice Cooper, and I knew it was one I didn't have. So, I need to get around to it, and hopefully that'll happen. Alice Cooper is a very versatile artist. He doesn't do the same thing. He's very, very different, and has very many different styles. Next, we've got From the Inside by Alice Cooper. Now, when I started delving more into the discography of his, I didn't realize that this album existed until I started doing that. I found some really cool songs. One I like the most probably is Quiet Room. Quiet Room is definitely a song about just going crazy and ending up in the quiet room, which he's actually been in an insane asylum, I do believe. He's like, a lot of his music is almost centered around mental hospitals, and it's pretty wild. But Nurse Rosette is a really cool song on here, as well as Jackknife Johnny. I really like this album, and then overall, I really like Alice Cooper. So check him out. We almost know Alice Cooper. Flush the Fashion. If I remember correctly, a really boring album. It's early 80s, so I might have to check it out again. But I didn't really care for what I heard off of it. Next, we've got Constrictor, Alice Cooper. Teenage Frankenstein is probably my favorite song off this album. It's the first song on it, but I heard that song originally from Beavis and Butthead on my DVD collection years ago. But it also happens to feature a song called "He's Back," the man behind the mask, which happens to be the theme for the motion picture Friday the 13th Part 6. Jason Lives. So pretty cool. Next, we get to one of my favorite, it might be my favorite 80s album he did, Raise Your Fist and Yell. I really just, I love Freedom. Freedom is like one of the coolest songs. And I mean, you got Kane Roberts on guitar at the time. And Kane Roberts literally looked like Rambo, but just played guitar. Like, he had a machine gun guitar, which was pretty funny. The dude was massive. So, he looked like pretty much like Rambo, but played guitar. Good 80s album. I enjoyed it. I don't have Hey Stupid. I do have Trash, though. Trash was a really good album. It's a pretty bland cover. Just him sitting there looking at the ground. But Poison, Spark in the Dark, House of Fire, Why Trust You, Bed of Nails, This Maniac's in Love with You, Hell is Living Without You. And that's half the album for the most part. There's a couple songs that I missed that I just didn't have a whole lot of standalone, but a really good album. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it if you like Alice Cooper, or if you don't own it and you like him. I don't know what's wrong with you. This is probably one of the worst albums he's put out. I know I've listened to this on multiple occasions because I just didn't feel I gave it enough of a shot, but this is Alice Cooper, The Last Temptation. Now, I'm going to cut him some slack because this came out in 94. And the whole reason I bought it was the one song I enjoy off of this is Lost in America, which happens to be the third track on it. Another that I found watching Beavis and Butthead. Can't tell I like Beavis and Butthead. But aside from that, really, really boring album. I'm not sure what happened. Right. So next, we've got Brutal Planet, an amazing album, one of probably his heaviest album he's done. There's not a bad song on this album. He goes from like Brutal Planet, Wicked Young Man, Eat Some More, to like things like Take It Like a Woman, and you know, I mean, just a lot of dark topics are covered, but in a positive sense. Really great album. Like I said, my favorite tracks on here are probably Brutal Planet, Wicked Young Man, Sanctuary, Blow Me a Kiss, Eat Some More. I mean, just the whole album. The whole album is wonderful. Similar with the next release that I've got, which is, this is actually a signed, I don't know if you see that there, but actually a friend in the family, big Alice Cooper fan, went and met him multiple times, had him sign some shit, and he gave this to me. This is one of the best concept albums I've ever listened to. I'm not much for concept albums, but I understand the story in this one. I can't get over it. This was really cool when it first came out, and it still is. I still listen to all of these. Well, Alice Cooper. Next, we have his latest, which is Paranormal. He, from what I understand, he got back together with the original Alice Cooper band and did this. Standout tracks for me on this were definitely The Sound of A. I liked Rats, and I liked Dead Flies. Really cool album. It even had like a lot of 2 songs written and performed by the original Alice Cooper band, Genuine American Girl and You and All of Your Friends. They had a live Columbus, Ohio set that was actually not at the Columbus. I was at Cincinnati for it, but still a really cool album. Anyway, guys, that's going to conclude part 2 of the albums. We'll see you next video. Thank you.